That fullback, by the way, Colleedy, is no relation to Grant, referring to him as a veteran. Canterbury Banks, but Mal Creevy, he's a try-scoring machine. He's scored 15 tries this year in reserve grade, and Peter Smith is out, and Graham Foe, a capable front rower, takes his place. The action with referee Jack Danzy is coming up in just a moment. Well, starts the action here, and it's Canterbury with Cronulla going right to left, and that man is Colleedy on his own 22 line, playing it back to Roland Beckett, and this is Gary Stairs. Met head-on by Mark Hughes, and coming over the top his brother Gary. That's Hansard, and now Khan taking it up and making a clean break and getting the pass away to Gary Cameron. Cameron looking in vain for support, and the tackler was Mal Creevy. Well, Cronulla Sutherland bearing very little resemblance to the side that we saw down at Brookvale on Saturday, Keith Barnes.
Yes, it's certainly a makeshift combination, isn't it? And one wonders what their reserve grade strength is like. Certainly any club is going to miss the likes of the Sorensen brothers, Greg Pearce and Steve Rogers in particular. But that was an impressive start by Big Paul Khan, who's taken over the captaincy this evening. And he certainly opened them up on that occasion, mate, didn't he?
Bit of spirit there, straight through a gap, and got the ball out nicely. But sometimes, as you know, Keith, when you get some new faces into a team, they're eager to produce the goods, and it could encourage Cronulla. I'm anxious to see how they go, particularly with them playing South Sydney next week.
So the first scrum of the match is won by Canterbury, and Creevy has a bit of trouble actually getting hold of it. And so Chris Mortimer plays the ball back to his brother Peter. This is Graham Foe, who has a facial likeness to a former Canterbury player called Don Mosley. Gary Hughes, Casillas. Putting it down, but a penalty going to Cronulla. The ruling deliberately forward. The pass to Casillas. Canterbury, one of the most attractive open style of teams in the Sydney Premiership. To reach this pattern of play, which is the most important ingredient, Mike? Would you say the style of players you have, or the coach himself?
Well, I think probably Ted's leaving a lot of the initiative to the players. He's got a pattern. I think when fellas get to the standard they are, they can generally know the fundamentals, and he's got them throwing the ball about. It's just that sometimes they just can't finish it off. I think that's the style that's going to bring the crowds back in any case.
Yes, I like to call them the entertainers of Sydney League. When they're on, and they're brilliant to watch. Now, Colleedy is taking this attempt at penalty. He's a 19-year-older, local junior from the Cronulla Caringbah Club. First year in grade. He captained the 23s against Manly on Saturday, and has repped the Sharks in junior matches from Matthews Cup through the Ball and Flegg Cups. Scored 47 points so far this year in 23s and 27 points in reserves. And can it be 2 points in first grade? I'll tell a man it can. Cronulla Sutherland grabbing the first points in this Tooth Cup match with a penalty goal by Colleedy. They lead Canterbury 2-0 after 3.5 minutes of time gone.
That was a good kick, Keith, wasn't it, from that position?
Yes, it was a top kick, and certainly give him plenty of confidence, won't it? We thought that Cronulla could have a problem in the goal-kicking department, but we saw Dane Sorensen fill in pretty competently last week, and that was a very confident-looking kick.
Steve Hansard, the ball carrier, had a nasty eye injury in 1979, completely recovered. Williams, number 10. And that's Roland Beckett, the deputy hooker. And a penalty to Cronulla inside the 5 is the ruling.
Barry Pearson leading up to the Manly game, and also he felt that there were a lot of penalties that went Cronulla's way that probably didn't give a true indication of the actual scrum count.
I think it's Beckett's performance tonight that to see whether he is selected on Sunday, I think, doesn't he, face out?
Paul Khan tackled by Foe and Folkes. Beckett to dummy half now. Hansard, Cameron. That's Dudman. Lock forward when you saw him playing for Cronulla the other day, playing in the second row tonight. That's Gary Stairs, a big man, number 11. through Hansard, Khan, the run around, the dummy, and Williams taking the ball just inside the 22. Last tackle now for the Sharks. Away goes Beckett. He would be, I imagine, feeling a rather disappointed young man in 1980 at the start when McMartin retired, and he saw Cronulla bring it apart at Cronulla for quite some time. Mark Hughes. Away from Ken Ricketts and pulled down eventually by Cameron. Gary Hughes. That's Foe. See that likeness facially with Don Mosley that I was talking about?
Yes, I can.
Robinson, been described as the wild bull of the Pampas. Coming right. Slick passing to Folkes, held by Ricketts. Taken now by their number 2, that's Lee Pomfret. Tackled around the legs again by Ricketts. Leichhardt must bring back horrifying memories to him. Creevy, Gary Hughes. That's Peter Mortimer. 2 in the side tonight of the 4 brothers, the New Zealanders. The Canterbury club here in Sydney has a total of 4 Mortimer brothers and 3 Hughes brothers. And this man is Colleedy, and referee Jack Danzy ruling a knock-on, and that's a good ruling by Danzy. It was propelled towards his own goal line. And this is the first time, I do believe, that Canterbury have been in Cronulla territory.
Very difficult one then for young Edie to take, wasn't it? Fake put the ball up very, very high, and it seemed to wave him around a fair bit. And young Edie couldn't quite get to it.
Well, that's an awful scrum. Canterbury's ball. Cutler. Cutler. Good run by Cutler down inside the 22 line. Tackler was the second row forward, Dudman. And Canterbury putting on the attack now as Creevy sees an opening, gives the pass to Casillas. It's been taken out of the air by Gardner for Cronulla Sutherland. Probably a try-saving effort by Gardner. He's putting a scrum down, referee Danzy. Gardner disputing it, believing that he had the ball stolen from him.
Good try-saving tackle by Scott Dudman then too, because Stan Cutler had made the break and got away from, showed good pace to get around Ricketts. And Dudman, of course, is a lock and showed tremendous cover defence then to pick him up.
Creevy playing the ball. Deep inside Cronulla territory. Gary Hughes, the general. Folks, talking of being the general, that's the sponsor of Canterbury Bankstown, the general people. And pitted in against JVC Sharks. Both those electrical firms very closely connected with electronic sales and rentals, one of our major sponsors. Mark Hughes. Keith?
Well, they can't afford to stand off Gary Hughes and allow him any yardage because he's a very clever ball player.
Oh, gee, that was chest high. Danzy saw it the way we did on television. He said, I know you're going crook, but I'm telling you it was that high. And pointed to the point where it made contact. Good refereeing. Quickly putting water on any fire that might have been building in our minds. That man is Rex Williams. And this man playing at a dummy half is Beckett. Now Stairs. English deputising for Peponis tonight. Dudman. Met by Folkes, 9 against 9. And Graham Foe has hold of both of them. Hansard. Cameron.
The gaps are out wider at the moment, and they're still keeping in the forwards. There's a gap over on this side.
A special guest commentator tonight, Member of State Parliament and triple international sportsman, Michael Cleary. 10 metres on Canterbury side of the halfway. Creevy. Cutler wasn't running onto it, but he's around Ricketts. No, he's not. And he'll play the ball just a few metres his own side of the halfway. Gary Hughes, Mark Hughes, across the face of one of the Mortimer brothers, out to Pomfret. Played to Folkes. Mark Hughes. Robinson. Left it. Cronulla's ball. Gary Stairs. Good ball. Nice ball away to Ozzie Welsh. And the tackler again was Pomfret with Peter Mortimer.
Unusual.
So Khan, sorry Mike.
Unusual then for Roberts. He had a look before he got that ball. And then now he put it to the deck.
Gary Stairs, I think I see some blood from the mouth. Yes, he's bleeding from An injury to the mouth. Short ball by Hansard, taken well by Gardner. Flat defence. Hansard, Khan, Hansard. Oh, gee, that was a solid tackle by Folkes, but I tell you what.
It was a good tackle, wasn't it?
It was a good tackle, and had he not have made the tackle the way he did, Hansard could have slid the ball around the corner to a man called Dudman, who was flying. So this scrum will go down just inside the 22. 4 scrums in the match decided, all won by Canterbury at the moment. And we're 9 minutes out from the quarter break. Penalty to Cronulla. They lead 2-0 at the moment, and this is right in front for Colleedy, the 19-year-old deputy fullback. Way out on the scoreboard side. This one in front of the uprights. A kick that I've heard Keith Barnes describe as sometimes, for some people, terrifying.
Well, the whole crux of it is, of course, that these are the types of kicks that you shouldn't miss. When you, say, kicking from 20, 35 yards out and at an angle, well, they're kicks, of course, that all goal kickers miss. But when you get into a situation where they're right in front and around about the 25-yard mark, everyone expects you to kick them. And I've heard you say that you could kick them left-footed.
I don't think I've said that. No, that's not quite right. I think I may have said I could throw it over. I know what you mean, though, because I think you're saying virtually it's a bit like Jack Nicklaus with a one-footer at the 18th and a big gallery watching. Anyway, it hasn't had any effect on Colleedy as he pilots it between the uprights, and 4 points to 0 in favour of the Cup champions, Cronulla over. The sponsors of all. That's Gary Stair. No, it's not. It's Rex Williams. And by Jove, that was a touch of the light fantastic as Ricketts came up with the ball, but there could have well been a penalty given for offside. It was too close for comfort, let's put it that way. Hansard, Khan. He's a good footballer, Khan, when he's firing. Good tackle that time by Mark Hughes. Around the corner from Stairs, back to Ricketts, and there's a top tackle by Mark Hughes.
They're giving themselves plenty of depth and attack, though, Mike, aren't they? And they're coming onto the ball strongly.
Yes, well, they've got to come on with that pace if they're going to get through those breaks or through the gaps.
In fact, I think I heard you on Saturday, Keith, say that Cronulla were becoming, in your mind, too predictable. Did you say that about their attack on Saturday, becoming very predictable? Quarter. Stairs taking it up. Whereas the scrums favour Canterbury 4-0, the penalties similarly favour Cronulla 4-0. Hansard, Khan, the run round, dummies. And the skipper, Khan, goes inside the 22 line and still going. And that's been a good gain in ground. It's put Cronulla 12 metres out from the line now. Williams. Gardner. Short ball to Ozzy Welsh. He'll score. Yes, he's in the corner. Welsh is... I hasten to add, saying that was a golden try, but Chris Gardner would be the nominated player, I feel certain, in that try.
Yes, I'd say so. It was a very clever piece of play. The way he held up his pass, everything went perfectly. And then Welsh, of course, made it look very good because he came onto the ball so perfectly.
This man, Rex Williams, along with Gary Stairs and Paul Khan, have paved a big chunk of the way for Cronulla's 9-0 lead at the moment. Here's another run by Williams, taking them a couple of metres short of the halfway. Cronulla, you might recall, in the first premiership encounter between these two sides at Endeavour, was sent onto the field by Tommy Bishop with these words: "Go out and enjoy yourselves." And they did. They came back in, and 80 minutes later, with the scoreboard showing Cronulla 35, Canterbury 9.
They held possession a lot too in this quarter, the Cronulla side. Well, does Canterbury win this? No, he's stopped.
Creevy feeding. It's a Canterbury ball to Gary Hughes. Now to Peter Mortimer. Quick ball, good pass to Cutler. And the defence converges on the fullback, but that was a beaut pass by Peter Mortimer. Gary Hughes. Creevy. Here he is again, Peter, with the right hand bandaged. I find them very hard to separate, he and his brother Chris. Creevy. Mark Hughes. That's Graham Foe. Cut down. Guillotine type tackle from Ricketts. Creevy. Picked up nicely there by one of the Mortimers. It was Peter. An infield kick by Pomfret. Pressure for Eadie. He takes it, he's lost it, and dived on by a teammate, so it's a line dropout. Ooh, little bit closet.
Yes, it certainly was. It was a very well-placed kick by Pomfret.
50 metres on the fly, and Cutler is doing just that at the moment, flying. Brought down. Creevy. Gary Hughes. And that's Chris Mortimer. Got the pass away from down on his knees, back to Creevy, and the little man is in for try 16. That's his 16th for the year. Mel Creevy, who in Eyewitness News said he goes out there and just hopes that he comes away with a bag full of tries. He loves scoring them. Here it is again. Tooth Cup replay. Creevy to Gary Hughes to Chris Mortimer. It was this pass, and just in the nick of time. Back to Creevy, and the little man split them, and he held the ball-carrying arm off the ground. No double movement, and a fair try.
Yes, it certainly was. A good cutout pass there too by Hughes, and a good strong run by Mortimer, and everything was perfect. Of course, he flicked the ball up to Creevy.
Watch this. Good. See that?
He just made it, didn't he?
Yes, he kept the ball-carrying arm off the ground, and then was able to improve his position relative to the ground sufficiently enough to score a try. Nice try, Mike Cleary.
Good try. It was a rib cage, must be a bit sore. He had to stretch really to get over that line, but he did it well.
Good pass by Chris Mortimer. Again, playing a big part in the try. 9-3 in favour of Cronulla, and the attempted conversion from Steve Gearin, a 21-year-old goal-kicking winger from Canterbury Bankstown, a school teacher, played with Christian Brothers Lewisham in 1976. One of our good school sides, and there's the kick by Steve Gearin between the uprights. That'll see the quarter-time siren sound with 9 points to 5 in favour. Lead over Canterbury Bankstown. Canterbury, reminding you, won their first round match against New South Wales Combined Country. And they need the win tonight to automatically go into the quarterfinals. A loss could see them miss the cut. Cronulla need a hefty win if they're going to make the quarterfinals. Cameron stepping his... Oh, look at that for a piece of football out to Dudman. Coming up as Ricketts. Has he seen him? He's looked the wrong way. Oh, gee, there was a chance for Ken Ricketts had Dudman looked to the left and not to the right, and it seemed as though he had an hour to do it.
I think he looked, Ray, but he saw Pomfret, is it? He was...
Well, he was making a nuisance of
himself. Yeah, nice of himself, and he probably thought he'd have a go himself then.
The point being, though, Mike, on the right there was nobody. So he was just as well off to try Ricketts.
Yep.
Well, this scrum just outside the Canterbury 22, brought about, incidentally, by the ball coming off the chest of a Canterbury player, picked up by another Canterbury player. It was an accidental breach, if it was a breach. It's called accidental offside. I would imagine a lot of people will be saying, well, why a scrum? Isn't that a disadvantage to Cronulla? But it's described as accidental offside. And the referee, Jack Danzy, according to the rules, did the right thing by packing the scrum down. This is Paul Kahn, and showing that he can do a little bit more than take it up and do the heavy work, and so it's back to the 22 for the restart by Canterbury Bankstown. Now, one of the more pleasant duties that I have is to talk to some of the nice guys in rugby league, and there he is, Tommy Bishop, in your top left-hand corner. You must be happy with the boys, Tom.
Yes, they're going there, and Pritchard had that try scored against them in the last couple of minutes in the first quarter.
Yeah, 9-0 would have been better than 9-5, Tommy.
Yes, Ray. But, you know, there's a lot of...
True story?
Yeah, that's true, Ray. He's a bit of a joker at times, Paul, but he's going very well. He's playing very well as a captain.
OK, Tom, there's one of your boys making a bust now, down inside the 22. Tom Bishop just coming on from the bench. And it's Cronulla on the attack with 9-5 the scoreline their way. Khan sliding free of a tackle, looking for a runner. Pulled down by Graham Foe. 22-way line. Canterbury into the field. Beckett.
They're hanging around Khan like pilot fish around a whale, the Cronulla players. As he goes forward, there's one each side of him.
So here's Khan again now, taking it about 8 metres out from the line. This is the last tackle for the Sharks, and a penalty to Canterbury. That's against Khan for...
I think it's been unfortunate there. I thought he was dragged along, and probably a victim of circumstances.
We might see it again then, if that's possible. Khan didn't argue with referee Dancy. He copped it sweet, as most captains probably should, when they're leading 9-5. Here it is, coming up. Well, that's Gary Stairs. We've gone back a bit too far, but we'll stay with it now that we're here. The kick for touch is okay. It's found the touch line just outside the 22. Now here's the incident. Good football there by Peter Mortimer. And again, Canterbury winning the scrum. It's Gary Hughes trying to make the break. Pulled down by Gary Cameron. Foe stepping and putting Creevy into a gap. Creevy scoring the Canterbury try. Coming up to the quarter-time break. He put those points on the board. Robinson. Ricketts is tackling well, right around the legs. Mark Hughes. Dudman there, making that tackle. Blindside, Gary Hughes. And he's found touch just inside the touch line for the scrum to go down 12 metres out from the Cronulla Sutherland 22. Tony Graham.
It was good to see Cronulla then, despite their lack of possession from the scrums, have a move ready to put on if they did win the ball. They came up with it, and they brought the winger in under 5'8".
He just lost his footing too.
They are looking to attack, aren't they?
Khan. Dudman.
It's probably indicative of Tommy Bishop's coaching, because there's so many clubs these days that are prepared to just take that first tackle from the set scrum.
Hugh Scott taking play 10 metres onto the Canterbury side of halfway. Hugh Scott is a twin.
Yes, well, it was good play as far as Canterbury were concerned from the time that Creevy really opened them up. I thought Cronulla a little bit slow to cover. Welsh, of course, in that situation, an invidious position, isn't it, when one player's coming at you with the ball? But I think you have to take the man with the ball in a situation like that. You can't afford to take the dummy.
I feel for him, because I've been in the position myself like New Zealand, where their big second row came at me 3 times, and 3 times they scored.
So Steve Gearon.
It's an awful thing, one out.
But you can only take the man with the ball, can't you, in a situation like that? I mean, if you don't take him, when he's going to score himself.
True, he on the wrong foot, and I thought Mortimer was game going down that back line there, near the dead ball line, very close.
So Gearon converts the try. Class enthusiastic journalist decides to take me apart.
Started to use their possession well now. Canterbury, they're making ground all the time. Another intelligent kick there from Hughes as he made about 30 metres.
Cronulla getting possession from a rather dubious scrum. It's their 4th of the match. They're down 7-4 in the scrum count. Hansard, Khan, Williams, and Chris Mortimer playing in 3. Making the tackle. That's Ricketts. Still going. Lightly framed. Hugh Scott.
He was looking inside to Welsh there too, wasn't he? Just couldn't get his arms free. But Cronulla, they're still enterprising, aren't they? And they've won the scrums in this particular quarter.
Mark Hughes standing very shallow in defence, cutting Chris Gardner off. Khan. Dudman. And just on the of course of sudden death cup tie football, back at an earlier stage in the competition, much earlier in fact. And the quarterfinal view we did last week of the points table firmly indicated some of the teams, and or indicated some of the top sides have made their way through to the quarters, and therefore we're in for some really good matches in the July quarter-final series. Ricketts, I mentioned that Leichhardt would bring back unhappy memories for this lad. He was sent off in controversial circumstances here in the match against Balmain. He's been back about 4 weeks now as Khan gets it away to Dudman. Khan, an ever-present problem for Canterbury tonight. Stairs, the two big men, in fact, at creating drama for Canterbury.
Dudman's made some good runs.
He has.
This quarter.
Cameron. And a scrum to go down. I would have felt that the tackle count would have restarted there. But referee Danzy was right on the spot, and he disagrees with that line of thinking. Out in the field.
Yes, they probably queried it too.
There were a few vacant looks out there from Canterbury in particular. All right, so this scrum 12 metres out from the 22-way line. Canterbury's end of the field, 10-9 in favour of the Bulldogs, the scoreline. And we're 5 out from and reassume their lead.
Must be terribly confident of those scrums. Edie was right; was on the blind side then of the rack. I know there's no wind out there, although it's cold. There's no wind, but the Cronulla players were right up, all the back line right up. There's no one back if Canterbury had won that ball. It's turned out all right. But
Cronulla have won the second quarter scrums, Mike, and Keith, you'll be interested to know 6-3 after not winning a scrum in the first quarter.
Well, no wonder they're confident. I did say in the first quarter that I thought Cronulla had a glut of possession. I didn't realise they weren't winning the scrums. It must have been they were taking advantage of the 6 tackles all the time. They retained possession.
It's amazing how you can get an impression that sometimes statistics speaks against what you're thinking. Well, here's a man with a huge name to live up to. As I said, no relation to Graham. Colin Eadie hits it, and I think he's got it. He has. Another goal and a good kick, as Mike Cleary echoes in the background, and Cronulla lead by 11-10, and Eadie has kicked now 4 out of 4. Good boy. Very good goal kicking. And 3 of those very good, weren't they?
Yeah, 3 good kicks.
Bit of a Pugo Bear business there. He just put the ball down, turned his back on it and walked away. Graham. That's Beckett. Inside. Khan. Short ball. He's put Williams through the gap.
It's just a little unfortunate. Cronulla players have been put through the gaps on quite a few occasions, but unfortunately, once that player has got through the gap, it falls down to just that lack of support then with the next man coming from behind.
Cameron. Gardner. High stepping centre. And proving hard to pull down, apparently, as it comes out to Khan. He draws one defender, gets it away, and it's through Williams out to Graham. Graham taken well by Steve Folkes. He used the touchline well then to make the tackle. Williams crossing halfway, and a scrum.
That's where some of the forwards have been running out wide too.
This is Cole Eadie, the boy who's kicked 4 out of 4. Gardner. And neatly tackled around the legs by Mark Hughes. Hansard. Khan. Well, that's a neat piece of work. Hansard finishing up with the ball. It's a penalty to Cronulla Sutherland, and a Shepherd has been ruled. Just a variation of that run around that time. He didn't give it to him the first time. He let him run into the gap before passing to him.
I really think if Dudman had got the ball then instead of the inside fellow, it would have been a different result. I think he was expecting it, didn't realise that the fellow was inside him.
So Robinson plays it. Gary Hughes. Just outside the Cronulla 22, the crowd braving the cold conditions here tonight, calling for the Bulldogs. Gary Hughes. trailing by a point at the moment. But information regarding this temperature tonight, did I hear right that it was the coldest for 1980? Cutler. 7 inside the 22 in centre field. Gary Hughes. The bomb. It's a bit deep. Taken by Eadie and across the dead. And Keith Barnes is now back with us from the dressing rooms. What's happening down there?
Well, no changes on either side, and both coaches are a little bit critical of the lack of defence in the forward exchanges. I think they were probably both querying the fact that there was so much yardage allowed to the attacking players in both sides, and I think you probably see the forwards in both Cronulla and Canterbury taking up that area now in this third quarter. As far as Tommy Bishop is concerned, he wants his outside backs looking to move up a bit more quickly than what they are, looking to contain the Canterbury players and try and make it a forward battle. And of course, he is very wary of the respective halves, Creevy and Gary Hughes in particular. As far as Teddy Glossop's concerned, well, he wants to make it an open game, looking for players to back up the ball carrier. And not the first man, but the second man. On numerous occasions, he's felt that the opportunities have been there, only to fall down through lack of support. But this is a very critical quarter as far as both coaches are concerned.
So Cronulla Sutherland throwing the ball about as Hansard gets the pass to Dudman. That pass looked a little bit doubtful to Cameron as Ricketts is tackled 8 metres out from the quarter line. Williams. Khan lurking out very wide, and a scrum is to Hansard trying to make the break. Williams still just outside the quarter. Gardner, Hansard, short ball to Cameron. No gain in ground. Good tackling by Canterbury. English was the main tackler. You tell him, mate. Beckett now. Hansard's the dummy half. Cameron, Khan, Dudman, dummy to him. Given to Gardner. Stands up and looked as though he was going to let her go, and it seemed like the ball was glued to his hand. Khan now draws them, touched, and he intentionally played the ball, that's for sure, and Jack Danzy said yes, and we'll start the tackle count again. Hugh Scott to play it. One of the twins I was talking about. I'll tell you a bit more about him in just a few moments' time. Very interesting story around him. Williams to ground. Cronulla have now had the ball for something like 8 tackles. Cameron. Dudman. Right in centre field. They're only more 15 metres out, the Sharks, leading by a point early in the third quarter. Eadie, 4 out of 4. Goal kicker tonight. Hansard calling. Khan to the left, the big man, looking around, picking up Gardner. Well tackled, Gardner.
Good play by Khan, though, wasn't it?
Brilliant play. Last tackle now coming up for the Sharks. Beckett goes himself, and he's over. That's a try to Roland Beckett. And Cronulla Sutherland go further in front as Dudman takes it up to within 12 metres of the halfway. Williams, Khan, well done, out to Stairs, still going, this big
good pass.
Oh, he's in, no, he's deliberately forward.
Gee, that was bad luck. It was top play, wasn't it, from Khan?
Top play.
And Gary Stairs. Stairs did particularly well.
It's just English taking the free kick. Danzy telling Colleedy to get rid of that second ball if you don't mind. Now Casillas. Next week we go to Lang Park and see 2 teams that still can make the quarterfinals, depending upon the margin of the win, as Mark Hughes takes it down 10 metres out from the 22.
Those Brisbane people sent birthday greetings to you, Ray, too, and they're looking forward to seeing you out there next week.
Thank you, Michael. As going down the touchline is Steve Guerin, fleet-footed, stepping, and then not held, a metre short of the line. Guerin to play it back to Mark Hughes. Gary Hughes. Robinson coming fast. Creevy's with it. He ran around behind Chris Mortimer. Didn't obstruct the defence because it was just not existent. It's now with Foe, and he's tackled 10 metres out on tackle number 5. Dummy half is English. Gary Hughes, the run round, and then the dummy back to Cutler, and Cutler is in next to the uprights. Canterbury banks down, striking back. Cronulla 14, Canterbury 13. And a simple...
Many occasions throughout the season, but Gary Hughes was given plenty of time then to turn and create that little bit of magic, and I should imagine the Cronulla defence also had plenty of time to watch Cutler coming through onto the ball, and it's probably a little bit disappointing from their point of view that they weren't concentrating on defence and maybe thinking about the try that they just put on the board. A couple of lacklustre defensive efforts, tackling efforts.
Long run, a long approach to a very simple kick. And he's converted the try scored by Stan Cutler and leads now Canterbury 15 points to 14. Gearan 3 out of 3, Edie 4 out of 5. Ted Glossop a little bit more satisfied, I would think, with this performance now. Cutler. Robinson. Creevy. Gary Hughes. Good pass. Folks galloping down towards the halfway. Couple of metres short of that point. Creevy. Gary Hughes. Peter Casillas. Robinson's coming up on the outside. This is the last for Canterbury. Gary Hughes has called for it. He's standing left, but it's gone right to Creevy. And a loose one, picked up by Cutler, sped back on the inside to Pomfret, and he's tackled. That's the end of 6.
It could have gone anyway then.
Yes,
there was an intercept on as well, and they
picked himself into the attack. Well, it could cause a few more problems for this Cronulla defence.
Just repeating, next Wednesday night, I didn't quite finish off what I was telling you about next Wednesday at Lang Park. It's combined Brisbane versus Manly. And repeating, both those sides, depending on the margin of the win, could make the quarterfinals. Combined Brisbane and Manly from Lang Park next Wednesday. So for a guy who doesn't like flying, I'm going to be doing plenty of it over the next week. Repeating with Network 10 bringing you the second test from Auckland on Monday night here in Sydney at 9:30 for Channel 10 viewers. I'll get a time from Brisbane too, if my director can ask along the line. Dudman. Just short of the halfway. And Peter Casillas coming off. Cronulla are now in front in the scrum count, by the way, boys. 9-8 after losing the first 5 scrums. So Beckett has pulled back from what looked like it was going to be a rather embarrassing scrum count against him. Dudman.
He's worked well, the Dudman. He's been everything.
Khan. Talk about being in everything. He's had a big match, Khan. Yeah. So has this boy, Williams. Picked up by Edie. Cameron. Gardner. Welsh. Oh, good fend. Got rid of Peter Mortimer very quickly. He's still going. He's inside the 22. There's Graham. Graham goes for the corner. That's a try. Touch judge is motionless. It's a try. Scored by Graham over on the match tonight. Takes home $6,000, while the loser picks up $2,000 for their effort. Edie now.
We haven't seen a great deal of kicking in this game, mate, have we? Both teams prepared to concentrate on possession and doing it very well. Both teams controlling the ball. And we haven't seen, well, either team really concentrating on taking the play down into their important opponent's territory.
No, I've seen what Gary Hughes has kicked twice, and there's no wind out there, Keith. Then maybe that has something to do with it. There's no advantage except for, of course, ground, but there's no ground advantage as far as wind is concerned, I don't think. I don't know if you noticed downstairs, did you?
No, there's not very much at all.
So it's Cronulla Sutherland leading by 17 points to 15 in a match, so far as the scoreboard is concerned, a fluctuating one, with Cronulla in front 1 minute, Canterbury the next. Williams. And the end of 6, that telecast time for Brisbane 30 through Channel 10 here next Monday. And of course, you people in New Zealand will be seeing it at times which I'm positive would be well advertised by now. Khan, Dudman. Saturday night in the big game, Parramatta and Penrith, the local derby. I've got vivid memories of that, Keith. That was the match where Glover scored that sensational try last year.
Yes, that's right. I noticed that Glover's been dropped from the Parramatta side.
Edie to Graham. Graham on the inside, picking up Gardner. He just throws it and hopes, but he's gone into touch.
Has he been dropped or just told to back up?
No, he's been dropped according to this evening's paper.
17-15 in favour of the Sharks. Now the delay here is a late arrival by Gary Stairs. Just a few minutes out from three-quarter time. Creevy sliding up the side of the scrum base. Hughes. Robinson puts it down. Cronulla with a chance here. Hansard. He's inside the 22 and tackled there by Downey, the replacement. Chris Gardner, 12 metres out. Still got a couple of minutes before the break. Beckett is the dummy half. That's Gary Cameron, Khan, and the former Queenslander made to play it. Beckett away from dummy half, 10 metres out. Stairs in 11. Much closer to the line now. Last tackle. Hansard, Cameron, Dudman, and put down. I think that penalty from Danzy was for screwing the scrum against Cronulla. Downey. Creevy coming up on the left, that's him. Graham Foe. Hughes. Around Robinson, put down by Cutler.
Aren't they? Peeping into their game.
Anxious and a few blokes getting in the way there. I couldn't see any advantage of him cutting Robinson out then when he was Cutler was in line with him.
Hansard on the halfway. That's Rex Williams. Cronulla, even if they win this match, it doesn't appear at the moment as though they're going to win it by a big enough margin to force their way into the quarterfinals. But as I said a few minutes ago, $6,000, it's not to be scoffed at. Handy night's work. Hansard, Cameron, Gardner. Dudman's lurking in the wings. He's lost it. Robinson picks it up for the Bulldogs. He's tackled and will play it on the halfway mark. Only seconds before three-quarter time. Creevy, Gary Hughes, Downey, out to Peter Mortimer, chopping his way back in field, off to Pomfret, on it goes to Graham Foe. Foe looking around, and then throwing it and just hoping that Folkes gets it. He has, but he's also been tackled, and that's the end of the third quarter. Sutherland going to the break, leading Canterbury 17 points. To Graham Hughes, beautiful football across to Gearan, back on the outside. That's Steve Mortimer firing for the corner and finding it.
6 to 7:30 every Saturday night. You'll see more of the match on League Station 10.
17 points to 15 in favour of...
Well, I think with that, we have not had much ball as Cronulla. I think when we do, we'll have to hold that ball for 6 tackles.
Do you think the Canterbury defence is tight enough? Because Paul Kahn seems to be giving him plenty of problems.
Paul Kahn is having a great game, and I think against any defence, Paul Kahn on his day is very hard to contain. However, perhaps we might be able to move up a little bit quicker in defence, but we'll have to, because Paul Kahn is playing well, to nullify or stop him getting rid of that ball. But I believe our blokes will come back this second half, and Ted is probably saying to him now to move up a little quicker. And if we do, and when we do get the ball, to appreciate it for the 6 tackles.
Yes, I'd say so, because also in his half-time summary, he was emphasising the importance of the boys concentrating on their game.
Yes, well, concentration is a big thing, a big factor, especially when you have the ball. You only have the 6 tackles. You only have, say, for 6 tackles to score a try or whatever, or to advance up the field. So I think Ted's bringing that home to the players, that we must hold that ball. The limited opportunities that we have had the ball, we probably haven't looked after it as well as we can, and I believe that the players will have to appreciate this for this next quarter if we're going to win.
Well, you're trailing 17 points to 15, and we'll be back for that final quarter after this break.
15 in favour of Cronulla Sutherland as they send the ball down to Stan Cutler. Just outside his quarter line. Creevy. Downey. Tackled by Gardner. Some of the crowd felt that it was a touch high.
That was a coat hanger, not a stiffy. I think he just kept it round the neck, and
there's a bloke out in front of us who's been making himself, as Robinson makes this break for Canterbury and looks, and put down by Pomfret. The pass too low for the wing 3/4 minutes, and he just paid out on him then very strongly. So Hansard will feed the scrum just on his own side of the halfway. 2 young hookers doing battle for it. Gary Hughes got the ball beautifully to Cutler, back to Peter Mortimer, and he's tackled there by Chris Gardner. Now Creevy stepping around one, and then hit and forced back by Gary Stairs. That chant is for the Bulldogs. And there's Chris Mortimer. One-hander back to Robinson. Driven to the ground by a Cronulla Sutherland replacement. Gary Hughes, folks. Cutler. Colleedy for Cronulla in possession.
he's a danger man when he starts coming to that back line, Cutler. He causes him some havoc, but unfortunately, if he had caught that ball, I think he may have been offside in any case.
So Dudman to play it just inside the 22. Colleedy tied up by Gary Hughes. Hansard, Kahn. He'll be a very proud man, Paul Kahn, if he can take this young side to the dressing room as a winner. Now 16 is on. That man is Jim Scott. Beg your pardon, Stephen Hardy. And that name should be familiar to you because Stephen was the captain of the 1979 Australian schoolboys side. Down in the second row, it seems to me that...
I think he's replaced Ken Ricketts with Dudman going into lock.
Thanks, Keith. Here's Gary Cameron with a big step there, which baffled Gary Hughes fractionally, but Mark picked him up in cover from lock. Chris Gardner's had a strong game for Cronulla. Mike Cleary, this man to play the ball.
Yes, yes.
Beckett, Kahn on the blind, over the halfway, pops it back to Stephen Hardy, and Folks is with it for Canterbury. By gee, it's a youthful Cronulla side. Ray Downey. By the same token, let's not forget that Canterbury have got some youth out there, but most of them have had first-grade experience. Gary Hughes. That's Chris Mortimer back to Gary. Hugh Scott makes the tackle, doesn't hold him. Put down, and it'll be a scrum. 10 metres out from the Cronulla 22. The end of this rainbow come August 20. Huge prize money waiting for a team like Canterbury. If they can win this match tonight, as I said, they would go automatically into the quarterfinals. 91,000 is the total amount that a side would take out by winning the cup final?
They've got a pretty good affinity with Toots as well, Canterbury, who assisted somewhere financially as far as the new stand is concerned out there at Bilmore.
Creevy.
Canterbury really don't have enough drive up through the middle of the rucks, do they? Their strength seems to be out wide, and this is where they're attempting to play the game.
In their danger, but he's set himself in the first quarter, did nothing second, then will try, of course, in the third, and now he's come in once in this fourth. I don't know whether they've got the Khan situation for Cronulla is holding them back, you know, whether they're bigger in the forward, so they've decided to play it out wide.
Well, probably most of their creative work is done by Gary Hughes,
yes.
and looking to turn and pick the... Well, he's 3/4 up, really. They don't have a really constructive forward out there.
Good passing by Cronulla, and then a one-hander from Williams to Khan. He's like a symphony orchestra conductor, isn't he, out there tonight, Khan? He's just calling the tune, being allowed to stand and offload. Very constructive and destructive performance.
Well, the age barrier, I think, has rejuvenated him the way he's played today.
Dudman.
Just hope he doesn't produce it on Sunday against South. It's our week on, Ray. So
I've been watching your form. It's sort of been in and out. Side of the halfway. I didn't see the incident between Eric Ferguson and Steve Mortimer, but I was quite shocked that they would be involved, those two lads, because to the best of my knowledge, they had impeccable records.
Yes, it's unfortunate, but when there's an all-in, I suppose someone becomes the scapegoat, and unfortunately those two were.
Yeah, I feel sorry for them, but then again, this is Stephen Hardy now. Oh, that's a trip, isn't it? Yes, it is. It's a penalty to Cronulla. A blatant trip by Graham Foe, who was lying on the ground, minding his own business. Like a spare dinner, he was lying there, and suddenly he just thought, well, I'll get you. And he's leg now. They come out of the ground to get you, Steve. You be careful. 17-15 is the scoreline. Cronulla in front, and a good chance here for Colleedy from right in front, 39 metres out. 15-11 the scrums in favour of the Sharks, and 6-4 the penalties in favour of the Sharks. So they're getting a feed of everything. It's a big match on... there's the head-on shot of this attempt at penalty for Colleedy. We might stay there too. And we'll see what the touch judges are seeing. Gee, I hope it doesn't hit the crossbar and fall over. We'll do a South Newtown. Well, it's going to come back into view shortly. It's there. 2 points to Colleedy. He's had a big night with the boot. 19 points to 15, and he's kicked 5 out of 7 now. 19-15. I must admit to you, Keith and Mark, you would have got me if you had said you want to back Cronulla. I would have even given you probably 5 or 6 start.
I don't think I'd have taken it.
Yeah, I said the same thing to Keith before the match started, Ray. I said, I don't know half these fellas, and he said the same thing to me. But they're all new faces to first grade.
This is Edie. I wouldn't worry about it. I think they were introducing each other down in the dressing room before they went out. This is Beckett. Cronulla are now on a -8 points for and against situation. I don't think a -8 would get them into the quarters with 1 win and 1 loss. I think they'd need more like a +12 to get into the quarterfinals. Hansard, Khan. Back to Roland Beckett. He mightn't be a permanent first grader, Beckett, but he's got experience, and he and Khan and Gardner, Stairs, Williams, they've all done their job well, shown the way for the young fellows. Performance that I think Cronulla fans are entitled to be very proud of, this one here in the Tooth Cup tonight. 19-15. Colleedy. And then to Mark Hughes, and he knows he's been tackled. You could almost feel it. Graham. Stairs to the halfway, cut down by Mark Hughes. You wouldn't believe it, but if Canterbury are beaten in this match and they miss the quarterfinals, Gardner, that's Dudman, and this is the last for Cronulla. I'll just say that comment, but Hansard working blindside, that's Hardy. And he's inside the 22, and now the scrum will form. But last year, when Canterbury were accused of not wanting the Challenge Cup of last year, remember they put that side on a rather fragile-looking outfit against Auckland, and then they gave Auckland a shellacking.
Yes.
This year, they've given of their best as far as names are concerned, and if Cronulla beat them tonight, it's going to, well, be a touch of irony, let's just say that.
You certainly can't take anything away from Cronulla's performance, but I think the failing of the Canterbury side out here this evening has been the lack of real authority in their forwards.
Yep.
Both in attack and defence.
Let me hasten to say, or add, I'm not saying that Canterbury will miss the quarterfinals. I'm saying if they happen to, and it would be very unlikely that they would miss the quarters because they are still looking nice on a plus 28 percentage. With one win and one loss. That's if they're beaten.
Robinson has been pretty ineffective out there this evening too. He's a player that's usually very heavily involved and committed, but not so this evening.
Al Creevy. Gary Hughes. His brother Mark. Downey. No, he threw the dummy to him. This is the last coming up for the Bulldogs. Gary Hughes. Chris Mortimer shows it as if to kick. Then Peter Mortimer. Back on the inside is Cutler. There's a chance on for the Bulldogs, but Cutler's brought down 10 metres out. A real rush from Canterbury. You can almost see the anxiousness or the anxiety getting into their game now. Looking at that clock, 8.5 minutes out. Canterbury's penalty. Well now, if Frank Hyde was here tonight, I would just sit back and let he and Keith argue about this one. The score is 19-15, and there are 7 minutes to go.
Right, well, he's taking the kick at goal. An interesting situation. Of course, if Gearin can do the right thing now and pilot the goal, they need to try in a goal anyhow, don't they, to win?
That's right, and
you know, it's going to edge them closer as far as the points for and against is concerned. He's a very, very competent goal kicker. 7 minutes, kick the goal, and they're going to get possession back, of course. I always believe in taking the points if they're in the offing.
I like the points.
If you both have proved that, like one bloke just fed him knocked up kicking goals, and the other bloke knocked up scoring tries, and you're sitting there telling us you both like taking the points when they're in the offing. Of course you like taking the points. You're both very greedy.
With 7 minutes to go, I'd be looking for 2, and then anything could happen, and even the ball could float in the air, and the Canterbury side might even get under and get it back. Well, it depends how he's it.
Here's Gearin now. He's missed it, and he hasn't found the dead ball line with it either. So
I think he should have kicked for the lane.
I was waiting for that one. I think Mike Cleary has made the understatement of rugby league history. We both like taking the points. Their records speak strongly in that direction. Two great rugby league players. Hansard. Khan. Khan would be probably saying, come on, let's keep it nice and safe and close it up if we can. 6 minutes to go and we're $6,000 richer. And there he goes, Paul Khan.
Well, he's got it back.
He said touched or played by a Canterbury player, so it's 6 more.
I think when you're hot, you're hot. He's really hot tonight, Khan. Everything's working.
He's like a big white pointer with a school of baby sharks around him, isn't he? saying, come on, it's up this way. Stephen Hardy over the halfway now. Tackled by Jeff Robinson and Gary Hughes. The latter hasn't stopped trying all night. Stairs. Tackled by Chris Mortimer. Hansard. Cameron. Gardner. Wheeling his way through. Oh, gee, there's a touch of danger in that unnecessarily. It's a penalty to Canterbury.
It's for Shepherd, is it?
I don't know about the Shepherd.
Is it still there?
I think it might have been offside. I think it was offside, but only a touch in it. There's the replay of it. Let's have a look and see what it's all about. Looking at the replay, I'm none the wiser. So the tap or the free kick will be taken by English, and Canterbury go on to their one of their last attacks, I would think. Gearan centering it. They need 5 points, the Bulldogs, and they've got about 4 minutes to do it in, if that. Downey, right in centre field, 4 metres out from that 22 line you can see. Creevy, Hughes.
Here's Cutler again.
There's Cutler, yes, he's stormed into the line, and Hansard got a hand to his boot, and that filled him long enough for Stephen Hardy to pounce on the tackle. It's across to Creevy. Gary Hughes. Hughes probing into that opening. He's lost it. It's still with Canterbury, but referee Danzy said the ball was propelled to the opponent's goal line.
They certainly come alive, Canterbury, when Cutler injects himself into the back line, but
2 replacements on for Cronulla.
Each time he's been dangerous, it's been off those Graham Hughes passes.
Touch judge getting in there very quickly to tell Danzy that Cronulla want to make 2 replacements. Graham Beasley and Jim Scott are on. Tony Graham has come off over on the far side of the field. And the other is Hugh Scott, I do believe. No, I can count 14. I've got 14 Cronulla players out there at the moment. Yes, it's Hugh Scott who's been told, get off. Get off. Right, so that's sorted that out. It's Cronulla Sutherland. Found a new way to get rid of some time.
Well, they've taken both wingers, I think.
Stephen Hardy on the 22, and this Shark unit is destined for $6,000. It seems more apparent as the seconds tick away. Hansard, one of the few kicks in the match. Cutler in possession, taking Pomfret with him. Creevy, Gary Hughes, long ball, taken in well by Steve Gearan. Wrestled to the ground by Chris Gardner. Peter Mortimer, Mark Hughes. Hansard and Gardner again making the tackle. Peter Mortimer, Mark Hughes, stepping around one. Brought down on the halfway mark by Scott. Gary Hughes. That's the halfway line they're on now. English. Creevy. Can he find the opening? Chris Mortimer with a big run. A kick by Gearan. A chance for the Bulldogs. Coming across is Cameron. It's a try, I think. I think it's a try. Yes, it is. It's a try scored by Steve Gearan, and what a finish.
He just got right underneath that, did that well.
Oh, that's been a spectacular piece of work. Here it is on the disc. Creevy served it up for Chris Mortimer. He split them, and then Steve Gearan, he can't do any more than he's done here. This has been a superb effort. Rick Chisholm, eat your heart out. As Gearan plunges onto that ball, and that's given him now the opportunity of pulling this one and 6,000 big dollars out for Canterbury from the touchline.
Yeah, it's a good piece of play, isn't it? A very clever kick over the top there. Probably a little bit fortunate that he wasn't hampered in after he'd put the ball over the top. Perfectly judged, got to it first, and as Ray said, a very important kick now. He's probably wishing that he'd piloted that one over a couple of minutes ago.
Well, Steve Gearin. Well, have a look at that. There's the cameras telling you what's in front of this youngster. And he is only still very young, Stevie Gearin.
I wonder how Tommy Bishop feels down there.
Well, I think Tommy Bishop felt pretty confident because he was having Kedwell, number 17, warming up. And I suppose he thought, well, it's better the reserve bonus, and he sent all his reserves on the field bar Kedwell, and I suppose...
Well, here it is. Steve Gearin. He's got a 71% record of success in goal kicking this year. He's 21 with a $6,000 kick and possibly better. Hits it. It's away just off about 1.5 feet. 19-18 in favour of Cronulla Sutherland. The siren has sounded and it's all over. That is a very, very exciting finish. They don't come any closer. They don't come any more exciting. Cronulla defeating Canterbury 19-18, and the man of the match details in just a moment. Cronulla Sutherland's undoubtedly the outsiders here tonight, even though they beat Canterbury 35 points to 9 in that first premiership match. But a big effort by a lot of youngsters, a lot of them making their first grade debut, led on by some experience, and in particular by our man of the match tonight. 1 point in the Singapore Airlines Superstar Series went to Chris Gardner, 2 points to Gary Hughes, and 3 points, and I don't suppose you had to be told, Paul Kahn, the skipper of Cronulla tonight and front row forward, who did a tremendous job in leading his side to victory. Now, Canterbury Bankstown, they have gone through the Tooth Cup qualifying rounds with 1 win, 1 loss, and they are on a plus 31 points basis as far as the for and against are concerned. That's very healthy, and as I've said to you a couple of times over the last fortnight, that should certainly get Canterbury into the quarterfinals. Cronulla, very doubtful, even though they've won 1 and lost 1. They are on minus 11, and I doubt very much that that would be good enough to make a quarterfinal. The scrums, incidentally, in this match tonight finished 17-11 to Cronulla, which is a big effort when you think about it. They came from 5-0 down in the scrums to win them 17-11, so Canterbury were going up and down in the one spot in more than one way in this match tonight. The penalties finished 7-6 to Canterbury, 4 tries to 3 in favour of Canterbury, which is a little bit of an imbalance, if you like. But Cronulla getting away with the match by 1 point, and Colleedy kicked 5 out of 7, which was a big effort. To Michael Cleary and Keith Barnes, my thanks. Mike, did you enjoy that again?
Yes, I did. I think it's probably a better match to watch at home. I wasn't terribly enthused here, but from comments I've heard from people watching on the video, I believe it was a spectacular television match, and I think that's what it's all about. I think Canterbury didn't play well and had no forward play, and Cronulla deserved their win.
Thanks, Mike, for joining us. Keith, you'll be at the helm with Graham McNeese on Saturday in the big game. We'll have the full match for you, 6 through and